Hey, so we're back. It's been about 17 days and I decided to call it on one of the ferments at least. So I've got my jalapeno, mostly green, little red in there as well. Bag looks exactly like I was hoping it would. Liquid has turned a little cloudy. No mold whatsoever. The vacuum seal is completely broken and there's actually some extra air in there. So that comes from the CO2 that the ferment has created. So I think this is going to be pretty good. So we're going to get a blender ready. The Ninja here, and we're just going to cut this bag open. And I'm going to pour the whole thing into the blender. On some ferments, like with the Tabasco, I might separate the brine, but I didn't put any liquid in this. The only liquid in here was created by the salt and the peppers. So we're just gonna cut this open. I am gonna smell it first, see how it smells. That's your first clue if something went wrong. And it smells really good. Sort of like I would expect a ferment of peppers to smell. Not worried about this having gone bad at all. No mold, not even any yeast. I'm sort of liking this vacuum seal ferment so far. It's the first time I've ever done it this way. So there we go, perfect. So we are just gonna put the lid on and give this a good blend. Power. I do want to grab one thing while I'm thinking about it, so I will be right back. Okay, so I got a couple of things. First of all, I got some apple cider vinegar, some good stuff with the mother. I'm probably going to add a little vinegar to this, but I want to test this with my pH meter. And make sure we're acidic enough. So we want to see this at below 4 on the pH meter to ensure that it's acidic enough to have inhibited any bad bacteria and let our good stuff flourish, our lactobacillus. So just gonna drop that in. 3.26. So that's great. Not worried about this ferment at all. Love to see that. So let me grab a spatula here. I'm gonna do two things. One, I'm gonna try it right now, just a little taste. I have no idea how hot this is gonna be, so I'm gonna be a little bit cautious. Whew, that's spicy. It's good. Great flavor. You can taste that ferment. Gives it that little extra funk, but a good funk, not a bad funk. So I'm going to add a little apple cider vinegar. That will stabilize it. It's going to kill the ferment, but that's okay. The flavor will still be there. But I didn't do this for gut health. I did it for flavor and to have a good hot sauce, so I'm not worried about that bacteria and the probiotics. I'm just gonna add a little bit to help it blend, and we're gonna keep going on the blending. Here we go. I'm gonna give this another taste. It's really good. One last thing I'm going to add is just a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, kind of give it a smoothness, a creaminess, if you will. And then we're gonna blend it a little more. And make a giant mess, because that's always fun. Here we go. Okay, so this has probably been blending for 3 or 4 minutes, easy. I just really wanted to get it smooth. Gonna clean out this lid here, and I got one more thing I'm gonna do to this. It's kind of got the texture of baby food, which baby food disgusts me, so I hate to even say that, but whew, man, the fumes are getting me. That's good stuff. So the last thing I'm going to do, I have some xanthan gum here. This will keep it from separating. The trick is to add the right amount. And I want to add around a quarter teaspoon per cup. And there are about 4 cups in here. I've got a gauge on the side, and we've got just over 1,000 milliliters, which is just over 4 cups. So I've got a half a teaspoon here, and I am going to, I would rather add less than more because it doesn't hurt it if it separates, but you don't want some sort of gummy, you don't want to feel like you're chewing gum when you eat your hot sauce. Cool thing about xanthan gum, you don't have to heat this in order to mix it in. So I'm going to go about 3/4. I could probably go a full teaspoon, but I'm just going to do 1.5 of these half teaspoons and go 3/4. And I'm going to blend this some more. There we go. And we're going to let it go another couple of minutes. I have a feeling this hot sauce is done. Oh, that's beautiful. When you're doing it like this and not straining it, which we're going to do our Tabasco a little differently. As far as I'm concerned, you can't blend this too much. So I just let it go, put stuff away, just let it do its thing. Boy, I can't take that big of a bite, but I really want to show you the consistency of this. Man, that's so good. That apple cider vinegar gave it that vinegar twang. Jalapeno flavors are great. I'll tell you what, I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to shoot right down in this blender. All right, so I hope you can see that. Get a spoonful here. Really smooth. I could certainly blend it some more, but I'm good with this. Next step's going to be bottling it up, so I've got to collect some bottles and I'll be right back. Man, this is so good. The nice thing is it's got spice for sure, but just as much spice, it's got flavor. Can't beat it. All right, so I've got some bottles out here. I think I'll still have more left over. These are the only bottles I could lay hands on. I think I've got more somewhere. But if there's any left over, we'll put it in another dish. So we're just gonna bottle this up. I did sterilize these bottles. I am gonna keep this hot sauce in the fridge. I didn't add enough vinegar to make this shelf stable, and no reason not to store it in the fridge anyway. Probably gonna give some for Christmas gifts even, so. This is going to be kind of thick to go through the funnel, so this process is actually going to take a little while. So we will get these filled up and bring you back and make a little bit of a mess along the way. Okay, 1 down, 4 to go. That took about 2 minutes, so it wasn't too bad. Just a slow process. So I'm going to put this dripper cap on. I don't think we'll need it. Honestly, this is too thick for that. And then cap it off. So I'm going to get these 5 bottles done, and we'll see you whenever I decide to do the Tabascos. I'm going to let those go a little longer. The ferment is looking absolutely great, very healthy, so can't wait to do that one as well. See you in a little bit. So we've been going about 25 days on our Tabasco ferment here to make some hot sauce. Gonna probably give them away as gifts for Christmas. So we're gonna get these ready. I'm gonna get the blender. I'll show you I'll probably just take a picture of the ferment with the lid off. It's looking great though, smells really good as well. I did take the lid off a time or two just to keep tabs on it, but it's gone very, very well. So we're gonna get things set up and we're gonna bottle some hot sauce. Okay, so I hope you could see in that photo how good this looks. Just a very little bit of chyme yeast, which is not a problem. I've had a lot more than that before, but nose test smells good. No fur growing, no mold. I'm really happy with this. So we're gonna take the weight out here. Go ahead and use a glove just in case. And I'm gonna just test this. Take a little bit of the juice. That is so good. Hey, I'm gonna grab something that I forgot. I will be right back. You won't even notice. So before I do anything, I'm gonna do a pH test with my tester here and just see where we are. Looking for anything below 4% is good. I'd love to be around 3.5%. .376. Seems to have settled on 3.32. That's outstanding. That's probably shelf stable on its own. We're going to add a little bit of vinegar both for flavor and for keeping it shelf stable. You could pasteurize this. I believe you got to take it up to around 180 degrees and hold it there for a little while. I'm not feeling the need for that. I'm just going to rely on the acidity, and then it could be refrigerated. It'll last for months. So first thing I'm gonna do is pour this out and get the peppers strained, and then go from there. Man, these are pretty. And if you remember, this is mostly Tabasco peppers. I did use some jalapeños just that I had to add a little depth of flavor. And the Tabasco peppers are mostly red and a handful of green. And that just choked me up. Man, that smells good. So next I'm gonna get the peppers in this blender so we can blend them up. So I'm gonna stop the video for a second. I got a little spill here I'm gonna clean up and we will go from there. And I'm gonna keep this brine because we're gonna use a little bit of it at least. Okay, so we got our peppers in the blender. We've got our brine here, which by the way, definitely don't throw this away. This can make a great table brine just to have on its own. It tastes so good. So definitely don't throw it away, but we're going to use a little bit of it just to be able to blend these peppers up well. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup measuring cup and just do a 1/4 cup at a time. I may end up adding a little more, we'll see. But for now, oh, I forgot something else. Again, you won't even notice. Going to use apple cider vinegar. I love the flavor and acidity that this brings to the party. So we're going to do about a 1/4 cup of it as well. That'll be good. Get the lid on this and we're just going to blend this and let it go for a while. Oh, I'll put the lid on right. There we go. Make sure everything is clamped down and let her go. Okay, in real time, that was probably about 2 minutes of blending. Ooh, just made a nice little mess. Clean off this lid. I'm going to add just another 1/4 cup, a little more table brine here. Actually, I think I'm going to add just a little bit more. I want to do a little bit of a liquidy sauce. There, so far 3/4 cups of the brine and about 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, though I didn't measure that. We are going to do an acidity test again before we're done, so let's keep blending. All right, that was probably about 5 minutes of blending. I actually got my bottle sterilizing while this thing was going. So try not to make a mess like I did the last time. One thing I want to do is try this. I'm afraid this is going to light me up. That's got a little spice to it. I definitely had some seeds in there, which I'm sure didn't help. But more importantly, that's got great flavor. I'm loving that. I think this is probably pretty good. So next thing we're going to do, I'm going to get set to strain this. This is going to be a little bit different process than we did for the jalapeno hot sauce, which by the way is freaking great. But we're going to use the strainer and we're going to push this through in order to get a lot of the solids out of this before we bottle it. So I'm going to get set up for that. We'll go from there, bring you right back. All right, so let's get this lid off here. So all I'm going to do is take this blender of hot sauce. I'm going to pour it into the strainer over a clean dish here. Not going to fill it quite all the way because I want to be able to use my spatula. There we go. And I'm just going to start pushing it through. You can already see it starting to fall through the strainer. And this is just going to get out a lot of those solids. Not get out, but separate them. And we're just going to do this for the whole blender full. I tell you what, I'll reset the camera so you can see this a little bit better. So this is already thickened up quite a bit here. So that means that liquid is falling through. So all we're going to do is keep working this. Probably have to get some sort of something to put these solids on here after a little while. But this is going to take a little time. Just be patient, keep working it through. Now you don't have to do this. I didn't do this with the jalapeno salsa that I did. This is just a different style, more of a Tabasco, Louisiana style hot sauce, if you will. So you have some options here. By the way, I tested the pH on this and it was down to 3.1. So I'm really happy with that. That's going to really provide some shelf stability, going to inhibit any kind of bad things that might want to grow. So I hope that sound is coming through as far as the liquid coming out of this. So we're going to keep doing this until we're done and then we will bring you back. All right, so here's what we're left with. I actually already got rid of my spatula. I don't throw this away. I'll show you why here later, but I'm just going to put that out on a plate, get it out of my way for a second, and look at that consistency. Look at that color. It's beautiful. And by the way, I tasted this off and on. It's so good. Such great flavor and enough heat to know it's hot sauce, but not so much heat that it masks the flavor. So I use xanthan gum, which I have right here, to keep this hot sauce from separating. For a Louisiana style that you want a little thinner, that but you don't want it to separate, which I hate, I use a 1/4 teaspoon per cup, and I've got almost exactly 4 cups here. So I'm gonna essentially use a teaspoon of xanthan gum. Nice thing about xanthan gum is it does not need to be heated to activate. You just gotta mix it in. And so I use an immersion blender for this. You could use a whisk or your regular blender. Just make sure that thing's buried down in there. And give it a good mix. So this won't affect the flavor at all. It'll just keep it from separating. If you want a thicker hot sauce, you know, sort of like a sriracha or something like that, put a little more xanthan gum. You want to be careful not to get too much. Too little is better than not enough. Or, excuse me, too little is better than too much. Because you don't want to create a, you know, a hot sauce gumball either. So we're just going to keep mixing this. Okay, I think that's pretty good. I have a few chunks in there because I accidentally spilled some out of the strainer and I didn't feel like going in to find it. So I blended it a little longer because of that, just because I wanted to make sure that we tried to get those chunks out of there. But this looks great. I love that color. It's beautiful. So a couple of things, and then we're going to go on to the next steps. First of all, you can use that pulp that we strained out, mix it in with the brine, and make a different kind of hot sauce if you wanted to. Use the immersion blender, mix it all up, use a little xanthan gum if you want to. And that'll make kind of a different kind of hot sauce than this strained Louisiana style. Or you could do what I'm going to do, which is dehydrate it. I'm going to get the dehydrator out, let it run for a day or two, and we're going to make some Tabasco powder, which will be great for different things, recipes, chilies, whatever. So we're going to do that with most of that pulp. So I'm going to get things kind of situated here and cleaned up, and then we'll get to bottling and finish this off. Okay, so here's our pulp that we strained out of the hot sauce. I'm going to put it in my dehydrator here. I just dumped it out, spread it so it was sort of the same thickness. I didn't even obsess over that. Just tried to spread it out and get it even. And we'll just close the lid or close the door. And we'll go 130, temperature is good. And I'm just gonna go a lot of time here. We'll check it after a day, maybe less. We're just looking to dry it out so it's essentially crispy. And so let's just start. There we go. So we'll check in on that in a day. In the meantime, excuse me, we'll get our hot sauce bottled. Okay, let's get this bottled up. So I've got 6 bottles out so far. It's probably not going to be enough, I would say, so I'll get more. But nothing to this process. I've got my hot sauce here. I don't know if you'll be able to see the thickness, but you know, that's what essentially a 1/4 teaspoon per cup of hot sauce. That's the thickness you're going to end up getting there. And I'm happy with that. That's exactly the way I wanted it to turn out, but add a little more xanthan gum if you want it thicker, or a little less. It'll still hold it together and keep it from separating in my experience. So I'm just going to use a cup measurement here, 1/3 of a cup. I've got a funnel for the bottles, and just dump it in. You got to be careful. It's really, really easy to overfill these if you're not paying attention. And pretty soon you'll be getting hot sauce everywhere. So like I came very close to doing there. So there we go. That's pretty perfect, actually. So now I've just got a dropper cap that I will put on top, and then the plastic cap, and we'll come back and show you the next step we're going to do after I get all these filled, so I will bring you back. So I can't remember if I mentioned this, but I intend to use these as gifts. And these bottles came with these plastic wraps that you can just put over the top there. And grab a hairdryer here. Then when you heat those up, you can seal them up. They look great, and I've got labels that came with the bottles to put on the bottles as well with like a white marker. They're black labels with a white marker. So gonna get these labeled up for gifts. Lost one of my wrappers here. But this is definitely a cool thing that these bottles come with. And I will include a description or a link to these bottles in case you want to get some in the description of the video. So thanks for sticking around. Got